Dear students, we have already completed paragraph 1 of On Examinations by Winston S. Churchill. So before going to second paragraph, let's recall the main points of paragraph 1. As you know, On Examinations is taken from Churchill's autobiography, how he felt very nervous, he was very upset, he did not feel at ease when he faced the entrance examinations to Harrow. When he appeared at the entrance examinations, he faced some difficulties. Let's remember the main points, the outlines of paragraph 1. Churchill completed his 12th birthday and he entered the inhospitable regions of Harrow. Hospitable antonym inhospitable. That means he did not like the word, the scenario of examination. ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ କହନ୍ତି ପରୀକ୍ଷାର ନାମ ଶୁଣିଲା ମାତ୍ରେ, ପରୀକ୍ଷା ବିଷୟରେ ଆଲୋଚନା ହେଲା ମାତ୍ରେ ସେ ଟିକେ ନିଜକୁ ଅସହଜ ମନେ କରନ୍ତି, ତାଙ୍କର disliking ଥାଏ, inhospitable. However, he faced the examinations. He expected questions from your history, poetry and writing essays. I have already told you, history, poetry and writing essays. He expected questions from history, poetry and writing essays because his favorite subjects were these three subjects, that is history, poetry and writing essays. But when he opened the questions, when he saw the questions, he found that the examiners set the questions from your Latin and mathematics. The examiners set the questions from Latin and mathematics. से Latin mathematics रू क्वेश्चन गुड़िको पढ़िथिवार देखले. So he says that the examiners were partial to Latin and mathematics. Partiality, हमें जे कहंती partiality करिबा, कौन से को विषय वस्तु, कौन से को व्यक्ति, कौन से को कथा को समर्थन करिबा बा ता विषय रे कोनसी सपक्षवादी मत दबा को हमें कहंती partiality करिबा. तेणु एठी लेखकंकर मन मध्यरे एभଳି एक धारणा सृष्टि हेचे. तेणु से कोन कहउचंती द एग्जामिनर्स आर पार्शियल टू लैटिन एंड मैथमेटिक्स एंड ही वाज अनेबल टू राइट द आंसर because the questions were difficult. First thing, he did not like Latin and mathematics. He expected questions from history, poetry and writing essays. Moreover, the questions from Latin and mathematics were very difficult. As a result, he did not do well in examinations. Then come to paragraph 2. You have your books, then you open the page 58. This was especially true of my entrance examinations to Harrow. The headmaster, Dr. Weldon, however, took a broad-minded view of my Latin prose. He showed discernment in judging my general ability. This was the more remarkable because I was found unable to answer a single question in the Latin paper. He says that when he faced the entrance examinations, what was his experience? The headmaster of the school was Dr. Weldon. Dr. Weldon. You have your books, you can see the word Dr. Weldon. He was the headmaster. He was a broad-minded fellow. He was not at all a narrow-minded person. He was a broad-minded fellow. He took broad-minded view of my Latin prose. He showed discernment. He showed discernment means a proper judgment in judging my general ability. How could he judge the general ability of the writer? Let's see. This was the more remarkable because I was found unable to answer a single question in the Latin paper. As I have told you, the questions were very difficult, so he was unable to write anything. He was unable to give a satisfactory answer. Question गुड़िक तांको जानिबारे कष्ट थिला तो सेथिपाई से किछि आंसर लिखि पाले नाही. In spite of his not writing anything in the examination paper, in the answer book, the headmaster Dr. Weldon, he took a broad-minded view and allowed the writer to study at her. What happened? Let's see. I wrote my name at the top of the page. I wrote down the number of the question number of question 1. After much reflection, I put a bracket around it. Thus, 1 within bracket. He wrote the question number 1 and put a bracket. Question number 1 and put a bracket. This is question number 1, not I, question number 1. He wrote question number 1, that was the first question. He studied the question, but he was unable to write a single word. ବାକ୍ୟ ତ ଦୂରର କଥା, ଗୋଟେ ଶବ୍ଦ ବି ସେ ଲେଖି ପାରିଲେ ନାହିଁ. ଏବଂ ସେ କ'ଣ କଲେ? I wrote my name at the top of the page. नाम लेखु, आमे परीक्षार नाम लेखु, रोल नंबर लेखु, क्लास लेखु इत्यादि तांकर सेमतिया सिस्टम. He wrote his name and the number of question 1. After much reflection, he tried to reflect what is studied. जहाँ से पढ़ी सब मन पकड़ चेष्टा कले. After much reflection, I put a bracket round it. Thus 1. But thereafter, I could not think of anything connected with it that was either relevant or true. He tried to write something. मने पकेले आउरे मन पकेले ए क्वेश्चन रा आंसर कोन हे पारे, पाखापाखी कोन हे पारे, अंतत मुटे किछि आंसर देबी. बट ही फाउंड नथिंग, नॉट ए सिंगल सेंटेंस. किछि गुटिए धाड़ी, गुटिए वाक्य, गुटिए शब्द किछि आसिला नाही. सो ही सेज कौन से कहउछंती relevant and true. Incidentally, there arrived from nowhere, in particular, a blot and several smudges. Blot and several smudges. It means a drop of his tears. When he became nervous, and he wept. Out of his nervousness, he wept. Drops of tear fell from his eyes, and it fell on the answer paper. Blot and several smudges means your drops of tears which made the paper stand. आखिरु लुह बुंदा पड़ी से जे कागज गुड़िक मैला हेगला, ओलिया हेगला, बुंदा बुंदा लुहरे कागज गुड़िक लुचा कुचा हेगला. Blood and smudges. I gazed for 2 whole hours at this sad spectacle. कागज ऊपर छोट छोट लुहर बिंदु सब पड़ी ये कागज एनसार सीट तापर लुहर बिंदु सब पड़ी ताको से कहूँ ब्लड एंड स्मजेस द राइटर लुक्ड एट दिस सैड स्पेक्टाकल ये जे तोर दुखद दृश्य सैड स्पेक्टाकल ये दुखद दृश्य को चाही रहिले he was so nervous that he wept and he looked at the sad spectacle and then the time was over. The ushers, merciful ushers, collected my piece of full scarf with all the other students. The invigilator, the person who was in charge of collecting the answer sheet, he came and he collected his full scarf with all the others. Other students handed over their answer sheet. The writer also handed over his answer sheet to the ushers, means the invigilator, or you may say the attendant, जे कि तांकर दायित्व रे थिला तांकु जगिबा पई परीक्षा रे जगिबा पई जे थिला दायित्व रे ताकु समस्ते हैंड ओवर कले कागज एंड ही टुक ऑल द आंसर शीट्स टू द हेडमास्टर्स टेबल हेडमास्टर डॉक्टर वेल्डन्स टेबल एंड प्लेस्ड द आंसर शीट्स बिफोर हिम. It was from these slender indications of scholarship that Dr. Weldon drew the conclusion that I was worthy to pass into Harrow. Dr. Weldon was a broad-minded fellow. He examined all the answer sheets. When he saw the answer sheet of Winston S. Churchill, Spencer Churchill, he found the slender indications. Slender indications, ये छोटो छोटो चिन्ह लुहर चिन्ह ब्लड एंड स्मजेस ये सब गुड़िक देखिले. ही सॉ द स्लेंडर इंडिकेशंस द ड्रॉप्स ऑफ टीयर ऑन द पेपर शीट आंसर शीट एंड ही केम टू द कंक्लूजन दैट द राइटर वाज वर्दी टू पास इनटू Harrow. He could realize the mentality, the nervousness of the little boy, the 12-year-old boy Churchill. He was a broad-minded fellow, so he allowed the writer to study there. It was very much to his credit. The writer studied at Harrow not because of his credit, but it was due to the credit of Dr. Weldon. It showed that he was a man capable of looking beneath the surface of things. From the very beginning, in the second paragraph, from the very beginning, we have already discussed that he was a broad-minded fellow. And again the writer says that he was a man capable of looking beneath the surface of things, a man not dependent upon paper manifestations. We, the teachers who are teaching in schools and colleges, we have a tendency, we have a mentality that when we see the students' performance on the answer sheet, we award him or her the marks according to his or her standard. आमे जितबले देखू खातार लेखा है प्रश्न उत्तर आमे तार से परफॉर्मेंस देखि आमे ताकू उत्तर पूरा जहाँ लिखी आमे देखि नंबर दो ताकू कहा जाए दैट इज कॉल्ड पेपर मैनिफेस्टेशंस. पेपर मैनिफेस्टेशंस मीन्स we see your manifestation, your answer, your performance on the paper, then we award you the mark. But Dr. Weldon was a different person. He was a different type of teacher. He could realize the mentality, the nervousness, the mood of the writer. When he saw the blot and smudges, the slender indications, the drops of tear marks. ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେ ଦେଖିଲେ ଲୁହ ବିନ୍ଦୁ से जे चिन्ह सब देखला परे से पिलाटीर मानसिकता को उपलब्धि करि पारचंती हुए तो से भाविचंती जे ए पिलाटी को जदि सुजोग दिया जाए ये निश्चित भलो करिवो से कागज रे प्रदर्शन होइतिबा लेखा को से विश्वास करती ना जहाँकि आजिकल शिक्षा चली यू आर ए टैलेंटेड स्टूडेंट यू आर ए वेरी गुड स्कॉलर बट ड्यू टू सम रीजन you are unable to remember that answer and you present something wrong, then you are disqualified. This is our system. You have to present your talent, your performance on the paper, on the answer sheet, then you can score more marks. But here we see the broad-minded fellow Dr. Weldon allowed him to study there. I have always had the greatest regard for him. The writer says that he studied there due to the credit of Dr. Weldon and he had the highest regard for Dr. Weldon, the headmaster of Harrow School. In consequence of his decision, I was in due course placed in the third or lowest division of the fourth or bottom form. Then his position he presents us his position in this school. He was allowed to take admission. जेतले से एडमिशन नहीं चंदी से कोठी तांकर नाम को से देखिले तांकर सीरियल नंबर तांकर रूल नंबर कोठी थिला. I was in the due course placed in the third or lowest division of the fourth or bottom form. बॉटम फॉर्म पूरा तल श्रेणी रे तल डिविजन रे से क्लास रे डिविजन जहाँ रही सेक्शन जब कमी कहूँ से सेक्शन रो तल आड़ू तांकर नामटी से थिबार देखिले. व्हाई व्हाट वाज द रीजन बिहाइंड इट? थर्ड और लोएस्ट डिविजन ऑफ द फोर्थ और बॉटम फॉर्म, लोएस्ट डिविजन देन बॉटम फॉर्म कौन पाई? व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड इट? The names of the new boys were printed in the school list in alphabetical order, and as my correct name Spencer Churchill began with an S, I gained no more advantage from the alphabet than from the wider sphere of letters. Generally, in our school in India, we see that students take admission according to their standard. एमती केतक स्कूल रही स्टैंडर्ड भल नंबर जे रखी फास्ट टॉप नंबर फास्ट ता तौक सेकेंड थर्ड यही सब सिस्टम लिखा जाए. एबे तुम ऑनलाइन एडमिशन साम्स एडमिशन से जदिव सिलेक्शन ठीक होउची किंतु एडमिशन जे आग आसी जाउची से एडमिशन नहीं जाउची तार रोल नंबर 1 हो जाउची जहाँ भी हो. किंतु हमर हारू स्कूल रे देयर वाज ए डिफरेंस. कौन से डिफरेंस थिला ताकर आमे देखिबा जे अल्फाबेट एबीसीडी ए जे अल्फाबेट रहउची ए बी सी डी ई एफ इत्यादि अप टू जेड. ए रो अब्राहम, बी रो बर्कर किछ उड थाई पारे, सी रो सिमति किछ थाई पारे, डी रो किछ थाई पारे. इंग्लिश नेम ताको नाट रहउची एस रे टुवर्ड्स द लास्ट ऑफ द सीरियल 26 लेटर रो एस टिके तळ आड़ को रहउचे बी सी डी ई एफ जी एच आई जे के एल एम एन ओ पी क्यू आर एस टी एस. तो ताको नामटी रहला शेष आड़ को बिकॉज द नेम्स वर अरेंज्ड अकॉर्डिंग टू अल्फाबेट. अल्फाबेट अनुसार नाम गुड को सजा जाइतला. परीक्षा से किछि लिखि नांती. ही वाज अनेबल टू राइट एनीथिंग. किसी से लिखि नांती किंतु से कथा को आम ये विचार को नहीं नहांती. एठी विचार को नहीं जाइछि तांकर बिगिनिंग नेम एस अल्फाबेट एस सेठी तांको सीरियलटी रहिछि. द नेम्स ऑफ द न्यू बॉयज वर प्रिंटेड इन द स्कूल लिस्ट इन अल्फाबेटिकल ऑर्डर and as my correct name, his correct name is Spencer Churchill. It began with an S. That's why he did not gain anything. he did not gain anything, से किसी लाभ पाइले नहीं. Only the wider sphere of letters, केवल जहाँ से बड़ अक्षर छड़ा ए से टिके बेसी बड़ अक्षर ए से टिके बांकुली भलिया कि बड़टे रोचे ता छड़ा आउ किसी तांकर लाभ से पाइले नहीं. से कहउछंती I gained no more advantage from the alphabet than from the wider sphere of letters. I was in fact only two from the bottom of the whole school. जदि आम देखा जे सीरियल 1 रु आरंभ हो एवं 100 जदि सरी थाए ताहले 99 98 रे लेखकों नाम अच्छे आ 2 जन अच्छा शेष को. Only 2 students were left after him. ताको परे 2 जन से लिखुछन से लाइन लक्ष्य करो. I was in fact only 2 from the bottom. Only 2 from the bottom. 2 जन को छाड़ दे लेखक ना 98 रे रही. जदि 100 students थांती only 2 from the bottom of the whole school, and these 2, suppose writer 98, other students तांको तळुकु 99 and 100. These 2 left the school due to some reason, due to some health reason or some other reason. तांकर स्वास्थ्य खराब किसी असुविधा होता कौन से कारण पर से 2 जन बर्तमान स्कूल परित्याग कले. So the writer became the last boy. I regret to say disappeared almost immediately through illness or some other cause. Due to their illness, तांकर स्वास्थ्यगत कारण ही पारे किसी अलग कारण ही पारे, they left the school. They might have taken admission in other schools. वे तो अन्य स्कूल एडमिशन नहीं थिबे, पाठ पढ़ा डिस्कंटिन्यू करथिबे जहाँ भी उना कहेंगे. When they left the school, the writer became the last boy. The Haru custom of calling the rule is different from that of Eton. एठी हमको से देइछथि ईटन स्कूल रो गोटे उदाहरण दउछथि. ईटन स्कूल हारो स्कूल, ईटन आउ अन्य एक स्कूल. At Eton the boys stand in a cluster and lift their heads when their names are called. The boys stand in a cluster, in a group, a number of boys are standing. When the teacher calls their roll number, they lift their heads and respond to the rolls. At Eton, the boys stand in a cluster and lift their heads when their names are called. At Haru, they file past a master in the schoolyard and answer one by one. At Haru, they file past. Suppose the teacher is sitting here, the students have to pass the teacher. Responding to their rules, they pass the teacher. नाम डका जीव तांको आगो दे जण जण करी से अतिक्रम करिकि जीवे. टिके देखो सेठी कोन लेखा है एट हारू दे फाइल पास्ट अतिक्रम करी जीवा पारे जीवा पास्ट एटा होछि तमरो प्रीपोजिशन फाइल पास्ट ए मास्टर इन द स्कूल यार्ड एंड आंसर one by one. That's why my position was therefore revealed in its somewhat invidious humility. The writer's position could be easily known. जे कहीं से स्कूल को जीव लेखकंकर पोजिशन जे शेष पिला ही वाज द लास्ट बॉय सेटा को से जणे इजिली जानी पकोउथला अति सहजरे जानी पकोउथला से कहउछन से कथा कोन माय पोजिशन वाज देयरफॉर रिवील्ड जणा जाउथला उन्मुक्त हो जाउथला इन इट्स समव्हाट इनविडियस ह्यूमिलिटी. इनविडियस ह्यूमिलिटी मीन्स अनएनविएबल हम्बलनेस. कोनोसी नम्र भाव रे कोनसी भाव रे किसी शत्रुता भाव न थाई किसी इंटेंशन न थाई कि मध्य लेखकों को अन्य माने जानी जाउथुले दैट द राइटर वाज द लास्ट बॉय. It was the year of 1887. Lord Randolph Churchill had only just resigned his position as leader of the House of Commons and Chancellor of the Exchequer. His father was a towering personality in England. से जने राजनैतिक क्षेत्र में जने भल जे टावरिंग फिगर थिले जड़े नामजदा व्यक्तित्व थिले से कौन करथिले सेतेबेले ना ही हैज जस्ट रिजाइंड हिज पोजीशन एज लीडर ऑफ द हाउस ऑफ कॉमन्स रो से लीडर थांती सेठु से रिजाइन कर थांती एंड चांसलर ऑफ द एक्सचेकर से पोस्ट मध्य से रिजाइन कर थांती दैट मीन्स एवरीवन न्यू लॉर्ड रैंडल्फ चर्चिल and he still towered in the forefront of politics. His name was known to everybody, forefront in politics. In consequence, large numbers of visitors of both sexes, both men and women, both sexes used to wait on the school steps. So when men and women came to Harrow School, they were eager to know Spencer Churchill. Spencer Churchill किए लॉर्ड रैंडल्फ चर्चिल पुई स्कूल पढ़ुची. ही वाज ए वेरी एमिनेंट फिगर टावरिंग पॉलिटिकल फिगर. तो से जानापी आग्रह हो जाते अरे टी देखा रैंडल्फ चर्चिल पुओ ये पढ़ुची ए स्कूल पढ़ुची. सो दे वेटेड टू सी स्पेंसर चर्चिल. जितेबाला शिक्षक डाकती व्हेन द टीचर कॉल्ड देयर नेम्स और रोल नंबर्स चर्चिल हैड टू रेस्पॉन्ड. ही वाज द लास्ट वन. शेष से रेस्पॉन्ड करके आसती क्लास शेष से पिला मान रोल नंबर सरीबार शेष बिकॉज ही वाज द लास्ट बॉय. इन कॉन्सिक्वेंस लार्ज नंबर ऑफ विजिटर्स ऑफ बोथ सेक्सेस यूज्ड टू वेट ऑन द स्कूल स्टेप्स in order to see me march by. रोल नंबर डकागला यही क्लास जी पिलांकर रोल नंबर अच्छी ताकू डकाजी बर्तमान डकागला कौन देखा जाऊँगी चर्चिल आस. अरे ये लॉर्ड रैंडल्फ जे टावरिंग फिगर एमिनेंट फिगर एते प्रख्यात व्यक्तित्व राजनीतिज्ञ ताको पहुँची शेष पिला. दिस टाइप ऑफ कमेंट दे गेव. And I frequently heard the irreverent comment, disrespectful remark, irreverent comment. Why? He is the last of all. ये भले एक असम्मानित मंतव्य से शुणती अरे से शेष पिला. से माने तांको पार्टी बाहरी पड़े because they expected Spencer Churchill, son of Randolph Churchill, to be a very talented boy, to be the first boy in the class, second boy in the class, third boy in the class, or something like that. But he came at the end of the serial. So they commented disrespectful remark. It gave him pain. It pained him. It hurt him. ताको भीतर गोटे आघात ताको मन भीतर दुख दौला जे मु शेषर आसूची सब जानी जाऊँगी ये एक चिंताधारा सृष्टि होता भीतर. So, in my next class, we will discuss chapter 2. Thank you.